So you need a new job, also called now what? In 2007, she found herself in a hotel with her three pets, £36,000 in sterling in credit card debts, 2,000 credit left, a 500 a week hotel room bill, nowhere else to go, no job, no flat, and every agent she called told her that she was not qualified to work and that unfortunately they would not be able to help her, although she was qualified. At that point, you would have been ecstatic with an 18K gross salary. 6 months later, she made more than 3 times as much money, had a house and a mortgage and a job in one of the most sought-after organizations in an industry she knew next to nothing about. She kept that job for 3 years. You can get a job like that by being lucky, but you won't keep it unless you do something to earn it. And how to do that is one of the skills this book is about. Not too much later, she looked at a 6-figure gross salary as an employee. So how did that happen? Not by turning from employee to entrepreneur, where this is not entirely unusual, but by jumping from entrepreneur to employee. She then went back to being an entrepreneur in the same industry a bit after that, increasing fees to well over her net employee salary when engaged on long-term projects, and despite the inevitable politics in that field, she was asked back again and again in an industry where from a certain level upwards, everybody knows everybody else, and which is not only known for choosing the best of the best, but also for its tough environment. Now this is nice. But how is this helpful to someone having to find a new job now, or having to change their business now, due to an external event out of his or her control? Even if they did work in that particular industry, which they probably don't, how would this help? Well, what may make this experience relevant to others is not this experience per se, but that it is not the only environment she broke into after yet another external event had her searching for a new way to earn a living, having to find something else to do to survive and thrive because of circumstances that were out of her control, be it due to a lost or delayed visa, an unforeseen year-long strike, local versus federal politics, or local protectionism. It is an experience she was already intimately familiar with. And how you break into a new job or adjust to a new external environment successfully follows certain patterns. It requires certain techniques that are not always taught in conventional change management books. These are patterns that can be learned. Whether you work as a dancing paper bag in a parade, as a professional actress, singer, paper and half folder in a factory, these jobs really existed once. Transaction manager for structured transactions in OTC derivatives, teaching coordinator at a teaching hospital, communication skills trainer for doctors aspiring to become specialist registrars, spiritual packer for the special forces of the military, animal carer, accountancy clerk, negotiator for a large investment bank, legal counsel in an international bank, team or change leader in a global regulatory change project in international organizations, senior legal consultant or derivatives lawyer, change manager, life coach, or director of several companies that channel huge amounts of money and are the directors of companies that channel huge amounts of money in industries as diverse as charities, governmental agencies, hospitality, entertainment, tourism, and investment banking in 4 different countries. Some are the patterns of how to get into these jobs and how to succeed once inside, how to adjust to radically different environments in each of them, and how to thrive even at times where the environment may be a stepping stone and not the final destinations, are essentially the same. Sometimes adjustments have to be made with lightning speed, not only to one's skill set, but also to one's cultural understanding, without getting lost and losing one's values. With a life changing this rapidly, adapting to change and being able to find and adapt to a new job and culture becomes a survival skill. For a long time, this skill was thought of as a special skill for the very few, a must-have for almost nobody, not a particularly transferable skill. the environment has already changed and is about to change more rapidly than humanity has ever seen before. That means it is now vital to have an understanding of what people are going through during times when the world is changing, and to hand over the keys to managing this change successfully. It will not always be a smooth ride, and the outcome will never be certain. However, through training and experience, and with a system to make the process faster, easier, more painless, and somewhat more predictable, the odds of success can be substantially increased. It is estimated that 40 to 50% of people will lose their jobs and even professions due to digitalization, automation, globalization, and AI in the very near future if they have not lost their jobs already. In addition, climate change will make many more changes necessary to emergency response, disaster control, supply chains, even homes that have burned down, and the reactionary forces that are slowing the world's response down so they can hold on to their power and old world ways of making money are going to increase the damage that is already happening. Will we be able to survive? We don't know. The threats stemming from nuclear bombs, power-mad dictators, climate change, misinformation, and AI are very real. But if we look like rabbits into the taillights, we don't have a prayer to survive. What we need to do right now is look where we want to land and aim for that. It's like parachute instructors teach their students. If you want to land on a field and there is a tree, don't look at the tree. Because if you look at the tree, you will land in the tree. Aware of the tree, but look at where you want to land instead. That will not guarantee you will manage to land there, but it will increase the odds tenfold. The same applies when the field is full of trees and there is only a small strip where you land, or even just a spot for you to sink yourself in. Right now, as humanity, the strip seems too narrow. That's exactly why we have to aim for it all the harder. And for that, we need to learn to adjust to change, and adjust again, every time the wind blows us here or there. And adjusting is a skill that can be learned. The future does not have to be a horror vision, as some people already envision it, but with a bit of luck and quite a bit of effort, it can become an exciting place where people find out what they were really made for, where they may be able to fly higher into different places than they thought possible, and where dreams may very well become a reality. But only if we choose to make it so and put in the work to make it happen. This is the 4th edition of the book with substantial updates that take into account the changes that were only predicted by the author in 2018, but that have since already happened. This book will likely be out of date again in the next couple of years or a year already, but the techniques taught will still work. It is just the reference to the outer circumstances that will need to be changed by the reader.